I feel like we were just sitting here doing this exact same video because we were, in fact, pretty much just sitting here doing this exact same video. 3 weeks between hauls is wild. Let's say wild. It's better than impulsive and financially irresponsible. So we'll go with wild. Hey guys, welcome back to another one. And if you are watching this video right now, I am currently on vacation out of the country. So I am pre-filming some videos to go up for you guys. So I want to go ahead and tell you this right now. I pride myself on this channel of answering every single initial comment that's left on my video. It's something that I feel very passionately about because I want this channel to feel like we're hanging out, right? And it wouldn't be much of a hangout if I spoke and then you spoke back and then I stared at you blankly and didn't answer you. So I do make it a very, very staunch point to answer every at least initial comment. Sometimes there are some replies to comments that kind of get lost in the fold, but every initial comment will get an answer from me every single video, every time for the 2 years that I've been on this platform. However, this video is going to be a little different because, like I said, I am currently out on a vacation out of the country. I'm not adding the international plan to my phone because respectfully, I just kind of want to hang out with my family for a week and I don't want to be attached to my phone. So please do all your normal comments. When I get back, the first 2 days that I am back from vacation will be sitting right at the computer that's right next to me and answering all of your comments. So I apologize in advance that you will be waiting a little bit to hear back from me, but I am currently on vacation. So like I said, I did just do a haul 3 weeks ago and I used to do regular hauls. And then I just decided to start really working off of my TBR and primarily focusing mostly on Kindle books in the interest of saving space on my shelves. However, my aunts recently have gotten into reading and it has become a hobby that we have really bonded over and that we've really kind of had something in common and love doing together. And going hand in hand with the love for reading is the love for book shopping. That was so cringy. I'm sorry. But there are two separate hobbies associated with reading: physically reading your books and shopping for your books. These are two separate hobbies. And we recently went to go visit my one aunt. I took my other aunt and I down there and we went book shopping. We basically just did a weekend of book shopping. We went to Books A Million. We went to Fenwick, I think it was Fenwick Street Books, and went to a book signing and then did some shopping. We did a couple of different bookstores and I didn't want to hold myself back on this experience with my aunts. So I did buy a lot of books. And this is going to be a haul that I haven't done in a long time. That's primarily physical books as opposed to Kindle books. I do have some Kindle books to discuss at the end and some special editions that I've gotten, but there's going to be a way larger number of physical books than we normally have. So enough yapping and let's look at the books. Actually, before we even get into the books, I want to show you something that my aunt actually got me, and this is what we carried our books out with. This is from Books A Million. I don't know if you can see it, but it has Hedwig. It's the Harry Potter canvas tote loungefly. It has Hedwig, and then it says, "Words are, in my not so humble opinion, our most inexhaustible source of magic," which is a quote from Professor Albus Dumbledore on one side. And it has Hedwig on a bunch of books on the other side. And I fell in love with this bag and my aunt said, "You need to have it." So she did get me a bag and it was so sweet. So like I said, this is by Loungefly. It's at Books A Million. I don't know if it still will be by the time you get there, but it is the canvas Hedwig Loungefly. No cuter way to carry your books out of the store. So let's talk about those books that were in that fabulous bag. Arguably the book I am most excited about, I grabbed Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinniman. This has already made its way onto my September TBR because I just cannot stay away. I just think I am going to love this book and I'm like chomping at the bit to start it, but I really think I want to read this on my vacation. I want to lay on the beach and soak in this book because I think I'm going to love it. This is an apocalyptic, dystopian, deadly trials televised to an alien population, quirky, funny. I cannot say enough about what I've heard about this book, and I have literally never seen anyone give it less than 5 stars. Fresh, creative, hilarious. I'm obsessed. This series has no goddamn business burying so much depth and emotion and complexity under its bawdy, gory surface, but it does so anyways. What an unexpected delight. The apocalypse will be televised. Welcome to the first book in this wildly popular and addictive New York Times bestselling Dungeon Crawler Carl series. You know what's worse than breaking up with your girlfriend? Being stuck with her prize-winning show cat. And you know what's worse than that? An alien invasion, the destruction of all man-made structures on Earth, and the systemic exploitation of all the survivors for a sadistic intergalactic game show. That's what. This is one of my most anticipated reads of the year. There is something about this book that I can't get out of my head. And I just knew I needed to own it in the hardcover. So I think I also might have gotten the second book. So that might have been coming later on in this haul. So the first book I got was Carl's Doomsday Scenario by Matt Dinniman. This is book 2 after Dungeon Crawler Carl in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. I have not read it. Dungeon Crawler Carl is on my September TBR. However, I do want these editions in hardcover so they match, because I honestly think I'm going to be obsessed with this series. So if you haven't heard of Dungeon Crawler Carl, I'm not going to read the description because, like I said, this is book 2 and I honestly don't know if there's any like giveaways on the back, but it's basically a post-apocalyptic game show, satirical, high stakes dystopian, I believe, but it sounds so quirky and funny and such a departure from what I usually read that I just want them all in hardcover. Oh my gosh, truly, is there anything more annoying than non-easily removable stickers on books? Oh, that's atrocious. That's horrible. The next book I picked up is The Pumpkin Spice Cafe. Now, if you've been around on this channel for a while, you're like, Lindsay, you've already read this, and I gave it a 4 stars. I liked it. I really liked it. However, this is the hardcover special editions with the sprayed edges. Freaking adorable. And I just think there's something about this book that is so gorgeous. And we randomly found this at... well, I've seen it at Barnes. I've seen it at Books A Million. I think this one we picked up from BJ's just because it was kind of like a last minute grab. But oh my gosh, so freaking cute. Look at that naked hardcover. I'm obsessed with it. And this was just an impulse buy where I needed to have it. It's 2 books in and I'm already hot. I might have to put that fan on me, guys. I'm sorry if I end up having to do that. Next up, I grabbed Loved Arranged by Lauren Asher. This is book 3 in the Lakefront Billionaires series after Love Redesigned and Love Unwritten, I believe is the second one. So I haven't read Lakefront Billionaires yet, but I did read books 1 and 2 out of 3 in her Dreamland Billionaires series. And then I did read book 1 in her Throttled series. And I do like her writing. Is it anything fantastic and profound? No, but it's quick and easy little romances that I do like. And I like her characters. So I want to make sure that I get the matching covers in this series as well. Next up is a book I'm so excited about and I think has serious 5-star potential vibes, and that is Direbound by Sable Sorensen. So this is the indie published, really beautiful floppy paperback. However, I wanted to make sure I prioritized grabbing this because this did recently get picked up to be traditionally published and they're going to come out with like a beautiful hardcover with sprayed edges. However, oftentimes what happens when things are indie and get picked up traditional, the traditional publisher might go through the book and have the author make changes. And when I say that, I could even mean like cut out plot points, add other plot points for what they see as a better progression to the storyline down the line. However, this book has taken BookTube by storm and has been such a god tier book for so many people that I want to make sure I own the indie published version because I would definitely want to have both copies if they are going to require her to change things in the story. You want to know what it is? I think I have a little bit of PTSD from another very popular book that came out. And when it was indie published, it took BookTube by storm and everyone loved it. And then everyone was so excited because it got picked up. And I'm not using the name because it's actually down here. I'll talk about it in a minute. Because it got picked up traditionally and the publisher changed basically the entire storyline. And people didn't like it as much. So when I heard that this got picked up traditionally, I wanted to make sure that I scooped up the indie before it came out. I don't want to know too much about this, but I do know it says only the worthy survive the bonding trials. She'll risk her life and her heart to be one of them. It's bond or bleed, duel or die, failure is ruin. I know that this has something to do, like, you know, like very Fourth Wing, like bonding with dragons. I think this has to do with bonding with dire wolves. So I might as well just jump right into what I was babbling about before. I also grabbed the traditionally published version of Fear the Flames in hardbound. I recently, in my last haul, scooped up a signed hardback edition of the trad published second book, which is Wrath of the Dragons. And this is the book I was just discussing when I was talking about Direbound. So I grabbed Fear the Flames in the indie published edition. It's somewhere back on my shelves. Literally probably over a year and a half ago, way before a trad published was even on the horizon. And everyone was freaking out about that book. Everyone loved it. It was getting 5 and 6 stars left and right. And everyone was really excited when we heard that it was getting picked up. We were happy for the author because amazing for Olivia Rose Darling. That's great. However, this came out, the indie published version was like a 500 something page book. This came out and the trad published is like 375 pages, okay? And people started reading this. People who had already read the indie were doing like a celebratory reread of it. And apparently, this story is completely different. Like a lot of really major plot points and a lot of major character traits were changed, and people are preferring the indie version to this. However, I recently watched Ellen Catherine's video where she read the second book, Wrath of the Dragons, and she expressed a little bit of frustration because as someone who had read both, she has read the traditionally published and then read Fear the Flames and Wrath of the Dragon in one video. She said that if you didn't read this version, you wouldn't understand the second book as much because the second book is following this version of the story better than the indie version. So she was saying it was just a little bit nonsense that people who had read the indie published version are almost forced to pick this up and read it to understand what goes on in book 2. Because of the changes that were made by the publisher. So I wanted to grab this not only in hardcover so it matches my second one, but also because I think I'm going to read this version, because what's the point of not understanding book 2? Also, the second book in a series, I grabbed By the Horns by Ruby Dixon. This is book 2 after Bull Moon Rising, and I just think that these editions are so beautiful. They're so pretty. I love the character art. I love the naked hardcovers. And this book is so cute and short. And you guys all know, if you've been here, my opinion on Ruby Dixon. I love her as an author. She is a palate cleanser author for me. There is never a time when I can't pick up a Ruby Dixon and have a good time. This is a Minotaur monster romance series, and I loved the first one. Okay, so the next book is The Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw. This is actually kind of funny because I was placing an order on Amazon. I think this is when I was like back to school shopping for the kids, or maybe like shopping for our trip or something. I was going to place an order on Amazon, and I got one of those like little bars across my screen that said that if I spent another like $9.99, I would get free overnight shipping on my order. So I was like, okay, why not? So I went into the print deals section of Amazon, and this book was on sale for like $12. So I go, that's for me. I'm going to grab it. It's a cute little B format hardcover, and I know nothing about this book, but it had pretty good ratings. It says, the Swan sisters arrived in Sparrow, Oregon in 1822. Marguerite, the oldest, had long auburn locks, full lips, and a sharp jaw. Aurora, the middle sister, boasted soft waves of hair and bright full moon eyes. And Hazel, the youngest, was the plainest of the three, with smaller features and hair that twisted into a tumbling braid. Each was beautiful and each was misunderstood. A year later, the townspeople executed the Swan sisters for crimes of witchcraft, placing a curse on the small town of Sparrow, a curse that has never been broken, until now, perhaps. I just thought that was so cool, and as someone who's from Connecticut and regularly goes to Salem, Massachusetts, this was giving me Salem witchcraft vibes, and I think this would just be a really good October read. And I got my overnight shipping, so win-win. I guess inadvertently, this is just a haul of buying indie to trad published books because I also grabbed the trad publish of Quicksilver by Callie Hart. I do have the indie. It is on my TBR this month, but I went to Books A Million and I saw this trad published with the silver sprayed edges and the beautiful character art, and I just had to have it. And then on the back of this version, it says, "Be careful of the deals you make, dear child. The devil is in the details." And it also says, "This story raises our love of enemies to lovers to a whole different level." I've talked about this book in a couple of videos, so I'm not going to read the synopsis, but this is the traditionally published version. And I think book 2, Brimstone, comes out relatively soon. So I wanted to make sure I would have them matching. Yet another trad published version of an indie book I own. I grabbed On Wings of Blood by Briar Boleyn. This is the traditionally published version. I have the indie paperback, which is a really beautiful, like dire bound level of floppy paperback. But I just think this version with the sprayed dragon scale edges is so cool. And it has the end papers, nothing on the hardcover, which I think was kind of a miss. Publishers. Unpopular opinion, but I think that really pretty naked hardcovers are almost more important than like end papers because this isn't seen when you're reading. But most hardcover readers take off this dust jacket and read with just the hardcover showing. So for me, if I could only have one, I would give up the end papers and want a prettier hardcover. So the back says, "It's not protection, little dragon. It's a claim. You're mine. No one touches what belongs to me. Welcome to Bloodwing Academy. Expect magic, expect competition, expect blood." Apparently it's about a half-fae character in a school of high-blood vampires. I've heard great things. Next up, I grabbed A Dance of Lies by Brittany Arena. I think this cover is just gorgeous. Something about this cover just really called to me. I didn't even really know much of what it was about when I grabbed it, but the cover just got me. I think it's a combination of like the stained glass design and the different colors. It's like the greens and the blues and the purples with the pops of yellow. I think that just really drew my eye to it, and I had to have it in hardcover. It's about a dancer turned spy who must decide how far she will go to secure her freedom. I have seen kind of mixed things about this. However, I have seen notes that it has great disability representation. I believe, does the main character have like a connective tissue disorder? I forget exactly what it is, but it does have great disability representation. So one of my favorite things about this channel is the fact that we send gifts back and forth to each other, and I really, really love that. So if you don't know, my Amazon wish list is always in the description down below, and I say this every single time. This is not me saying like, pretty please go buy me a book. I have 800 books. I can buy my own. However, it is a way for us to have almost like a book pen pal situation. So if you go and purchase a book in my description down below, please message me on Instagram or through here alone to let me know that I should be expecting something, and also include the link to your Amazon wish list, because if you don't, I can't send one to you back. So please include a message that gives me a link to yours so that I can also shop for you. But this next book was a gift from the adorable, the beautiful Katie. She sent me, I've been calling this catabasis, but I've been hearing people say catabasis. So it's either catabasis or catabasis. I've been hearing most people say catabasis. So in the interest of not sounding like a total moron, that's what I'm going to say. But comment below if you've also been calling it catabasis. I think I'm getting that from like Calabasas, California. Anyways, I'm done babbling, but I was sent Catabasis by R.F. Kuang. I have never read anything by R.F. Kuang, but I own everything she's ever read, and I think she is probably one of the most intimidating authors to me. I believe she did attend Yale here in Connecticut, and she is a literal genius, so I'm just afraid that I'll be too dumb to understand her books, but I'm sure that's not the case. This is the gorgeous first run print edition. It is stunning, and this book is heavy. Like the print on this is crazy. The inside end paper says, "True is it, once before I here below was conjured by that pitiless Erico who summoned back the shades into their bodies." I have no idea what that means. This is what I'm talking about. This only intimidates me worse. And obviously Catabasis. Anyways, that on the cover as well. It says this is Dante's Inferno meets Susanna Clarke's Piranesi, which I've read Dante's Inferno in school, but I have Piranesi and I've been wanting to read it. It's about two graduate students who must put aside their rivalry and journey to hell to save their professor's soul, perhaps at the cost of their own. And apparently, catabasis is a noun which in ancient Greek means the story of a hero's descent to the underworld. That is so cool. I can't wait to read it. And of course, the adorable little note from Katie says, this book has been catching my eye since it was announced. I'm really looking forward to reading it and I'm intrigued by what you might think of it as well. From Katie. Thank you, babe. I'm so excited to read this. I cannot wait. We'll have to compare notes when we're done. Next up is an author I've never read, but I really want to. I grabbed A Forbidden Alchemy by Stacey McEwen. I do own all 3 books in her Ledge trilogy. I think it's Ledge, Chasm, and Valley, but this is her newest release, and they did this gorgeous first run edition with the sprayed edges, and once again, those blues and purples will just always draw my eye. It has the really pretty end papers. Is there anything? Just a navy blue hardcover. Once again, nothing on the hardcover. Guys, kind of bothers me, actually. This says, all Nina has ever wanted is to become an artisan. All Patrick seeks is a craftsman revolution. Will they choose their greatest desires or each other? And then on the back, some of the blurbs say it's an epic breath of fresh air romantasy, a feat of genius magic system, and banter so feet-kicking good, you'll need breaks to scream. Oh, and then it's also blurbed by Raven Kennedy, who is the author of the Plated Prisoner series, The Gild, Glint, Gleam, Gold, Glow, Goldfinch. Glow, Gold, Goldfinch, I think. I have loved that series, so the fact that she blurbs this, she said, this book is a pressure-corked vial crafted with perfect romantic tension and pure gangster-style grit. I was ready to be buried beneath the minds that Stacey McEwen created. This story has metal, raw heart, and inescapable magnetism. I loved every single chapter. I can't wait to get to this. So I was also browsing the racks at Target one day, and my eye caught Bury Their Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. I have heard such great things about this book, so I scooped it up because it is also a signed edition. When I opened this book up, it is signed by V.E. Schwab, which I think is just so cool. I don't know much about this, but I know that it's like toxic sapphic vampire story. It says, 3 young women, their bodies planted in the same soil, their stories tangling like roots. One grows high and one grows deep and one grows wild, and all of them grow teeth. So I'm thinking this is like feminine rage, sapphic vampires. This next one is a little bit of a bummer. Well, not a bummer. That's a bad word. It doesn't really matter, to be honest with you. But I ordered Silver Elite by Danny Francis, the notorious Silver Elite, I should say. And I ordered the first print with the sprayed silver edges. And when it came in, it's just the regular white edges. It doesn't really matter. I don't care that much, which is why I didn't bother to return it. But it was a little bit of a bummer that I ordered something and I got something else. But I will prevail. So this book actually has already made it onto my September TBR. It says, my name is Ren Darlington. I've been hiding who I am my entire life. Today will be no different. It's the first book of a sizzling dystopian romance series. Psychic gifts are a death sentence and there are rules to survival. Trust no one, lie to everyone, and whatever you do, don't fall for your greatest enemy. This book has made the rounds around BookTube and it is so controversial. And I think the biggest controversy is that no one knows who Danny Francis is. And Danny Francis may not even be a person. This might be written by AI, but I've heard some people give it 5 stars and some people DNF it, and I'm intrigued to see what I think about it. Another gift from a generous subscriber is books 4 and 5, I believe. Yeah, 4 and 5 in the Bridge Kingdom series traditionally published version. Book 4 is The Endless War and book 5 is The Twisted Throne. These are so fantastically floppy. I do own all the rest of them. So this fabulous subscriber completed my series. I'm obviously not going to read the backs because obviously they're books 4 and 5, but the Bridge Kingdom we read for book 1, we read for a homey and homely book club pick, and it was so good. It was so intriguing, and it's still one of my favorite worlds that I've read about. It's about this archipelago of islands that are linked by bridges, hence the Bridge Kingdom, and how they deal with the world around them, considering that they have to import everything into the island. It is really intriguing. It's so good. And there wasn't too much romance in book one, so I definitely want to continue, because I think the thing that kept me from really loving the series was that I wanted a progression in the relationship between the FMC and the MMC, but I think that does develop as you keep going, so I'm intrigued. Oh my gosh, this is from Katie as well. I don't think I even realized that. Katie, you spoiled me this month, and I don't think you've messaged me yet, so send me your Amazon wish list. But one of the little notes said, I love the new covers on these books. So do I. And the second note says, absolutely love watching your YouTube videos. Your TBR game is one of my favorites to watch, and your choices always inspire me to try new books. This series is something I've been quite interested in. It's a good one. I really think you'll like it if you haven't gotten into it so far. Bridge Kingdom definitely was great, and you are so sweet. Every single time you guys send me a note that says like you really love a particular video. I know I recently got a comment that said like someone said when she's feeling anxious, she watches my videos to quiet her mind, which is so funny because I'm so high strung and neurotic and chaotic. But like whenever you guys send me notes or comments that say that you love my videos and they help you have a better day, there is nothing more meaningful, I guess, because creating videos and responding to your comments is something that really calms me after a long day. So thank you, Katie. You're the sweetest. So on the last day of our book shopping, I grabbed The Rose Bargain by Sasha Payton Smith. I think I have this on my Kindle because I have this like memory of this going on sale for like $1.99, but I do really love this cover, and I think I'm really going to like this book. However, it has a couple of strikes against it because it is a YA romantasy, and I have like differing levels of opinions on YA writing in general as an older person. It's kind of, I feel like I've kind of outgrown the YA genre. However, everything I've seen says that this is done really well. The back says, when one makes a fairy bargain, one must be prepared to pay the price. Every citizen of England is granted one bargain from their immortal Fey Queen. High society girls are expected to bargain for qualities that will win them suitors: a rare talent for piano in exchange for one's happiest childhood memory, a perfect smile for one's ability to taste. But Ivy's debut season arrives with a shocking twist: a competition to marry the Queen's Fey's son, Prince Bram. It's a prize that could save Ivy's family from ruin and free her older sister from the bargain that destroyed her. Yet every glittering detail has a rotting heart, and amidst lavish balls, vicious competition, and a dangerous alliance with the prince's rakish younger brother, Prince Emmett, Ivy realizes that at the center of this contest lies a dark plot that could destroy all of England, and her heart with it. It does have really pretty end papers, and just a green cover, but really pretty end papers. Next up is yet another gift from a subscriber, and that is Nightweaver by R.M. Gray. This was sent from my bestie, Amanda. She is so sweet. She said, saw both of these on your list, and I own them both too. Oh, the other one is still in the pile. When it comes up, I'll tell you. Maybe a buddy read in our future. Yes, please. Let's do more buddy read. Let's do all the buddy reads, all of them. So this is the beautiful first print edition with the sprayed edges. They say, I will not let them take me. That in and of itself is so intriguing to me. I just, once again, the blues and the purples, they just call to me. It says, I let him place his hands on either side of my head, let him encapsulate me with his body until I feel as if the sea has wrapped me in its embrace. The scent of brine clinging to his sun-kissed skin, his blue eyes seize mine, gentle yet commanding, like the tide pulling me out into the deep. He echoes my words from earlier this evening, his breath caressing my cheek. You're exactly like I thought you would be. And that is, I managed to ask, my voice hoarse. He inclines his head so that his lips are so close to mine I don't dare take a breath. My eyes shuddering closed. Brave, he murmurs, his voice as lulling and familiar as the crash of a wave. I don't know too much about this book, but it says it's a pirate romantasy. 600 years ago, Nightweavers, cursed beings with unchecked power, claimed the continents for their own. The ocean was meant to be a safe haven for humanity, including 17-year-old Aster Oberon and her pirate family. But after Aster's brother is killed in an epic battle at sea against Nightweavers, Aster and her family are thrust into a new life on land. When a handsome night weaver named Will offers the Oberons protection and work at his opulent estate, Aster is suspicious. As the arrogant and entitled right hand to the wicked prince, Will is everything that she has been taught to hate. But as she shows empathy and kindness, Aster can't ignore a blooming attraction. And even more, Will opens her eyes to a new reality. There are monsters worse than night weavers, monsters who may be behind her brother's death. That sounds so good. So on one of the shopping trips with my aunties, I saw Fairy by Veronica Lancet, and this is a book that I want to get to so badly, but it is absolutely massive, and the writing is so incredibly tiny. So admittedly, I probably would be going back and forth between this edition and my Kindle. Kind of easier to read my Kindle at night because I can make the font a little bit bigger in bed with the backlight. I've heard such amazing things about this book. It says, in August 1955, when Miss Darcy O'Sullivan, an orphaned English teacher from Boston, receives a letter that her biological father passed away, she is surprised to find herself included in his will. There is only one condition. She must travel to Fairydale to attend his funeral. With the promise of a sizable inheritance, Darcy decides to journey to the small coastal town that holds the secrets of her birth. But the moment she sets foot in Fairydale, things start to go amiss. Odd residents, odd rumors, odd deaths. Everything about Fairydale is odd, including broody Caleb Hale, a part of the infamous Hale family. During the day, Darcy falls deeper and deeper under his spell as he forces her to step out of her comfort zone and embrace her inner sexuality. But at night, it's another man who haunts her dreams, Eamon de Arton, a noble man who lived 2 centuries ago. Eamon is sweet and suave, whereas Caleb is intense and dangerous, and Darcy feels more torn than ever. Soon, she finds herself embroiled in a web of lies, deceit, and inexplicable events that make her question her sanity. I have heard amazing things about this, but man, that would be a pretty sizable time investment. However, I definitely wanted this floppy paperback. Okay, next up, I'm so excited to talk about this. So I did say that while I was on my auntie trip, we went to Fenwick Street Books, which is this really cool old bookstore. And we went to that particular bookstore because an author was having a book signing. I had never personally heard of her, but my auntie's best friend's daughter had heard of her and had read a book by her and said she really enjoyed it. So we all wanted to go and meet her and get our book signed and stuff like that. So of course, while I was there, I had to grab one of her books. And the one that called to me was the Bloodsinger trilogy by Willow Asteria. So this is an omnibus, which if you don't know, means it takes the entire trilogy. So all 3 books and just combines them into one binding. So all 3 of the trilogy are in this version. Willow was so sweet and so kind, and she did sign my book for me, and we did chat for quite a bit of time. She was really great. Her husband was really funny. He was there with her as well. She was very sweet. I've obviously never read anything by her, but the back says, break the curse, claim your throne, fall in love. Okay, so according to Amazon, this is Kindle Unlimited. Book 1 is called Bloodsinger, and it says it's a woman realizes on her 18th birthday that the nightmares that have plagued her dreams were memories from multiple past lives and that the same man has killed her each time. I thought that Willow said this also had some sort of vampire lore in it, so I'm assuming that this man also might be a vampire. I have no idea, but I'm very excited to read it, and Willow was sweet as pie. Next up, I grabbed Oathbound by Tracy Dion. This is book 3 in the Legendborn series. Book 1 is Legendborn and book 2 is Bloodmarked. I actually have both of those books in the paperback because I wanted them in hardcover and I waited too long. So I wanted to make sure that I didn't wait too long to grab the hardcover of Oathbound. This is a YA fantasy Arthurian retelling, so like a retelling of King Arthur and his Round Table. I have not read them yet, but I know that they have a cult following, so excited to get into this one, but this is another chunky book. So I just got back from doing the school run, and I'm sorry in advance if you can hear the fan, but I had to turn it on because between this morning and now, there was a 31-degree temperature change. It is 31 degrees hotter than this morning. That is crazy. And it has gotten to the point now where I am sitting here and it is so hot because, like I've said before, I turn off all my fans to film so that you guys don't hear the interference, but the result is it's 80 degrees down here. And I can't sustain that for long videos like a haul. So sorry if you can hear the fan. I really apologize. If it's really bad, comment below that it bothers you and I won't ever do it again. It's on at least temporarily just for me to cool down, but let's continue because I have 35 minutes before I have to run to do the soccer drop-offs. So let's try to make some progress. The next book I grabbed on my auntie haul is The Names by Florence Knapp. This also has been making its way around BookTube, and this is more of like a literary fiction than I typically read, but there's something about this concept when I've heard people talking about it that has really interested me. It says, the extraordinary novel that asks, can a name change the course of a life? I don't really want to know like the specifics, but I think it explores how what we are named could affect the decisions we make, the doors that are opened for us, things like that. It says, spanning 35 years, what follows are 3 alternate and alternating versions of lives, shaped by Cora's last-minute choice of name. So I'm assuming she's going to have a couple changes to her name and how her life progresses from there based on that. Also, while we were at Fenwick Street Books for Willow's author signing, I picked up Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson. Full disclosure, I read the Good Girl's Guide to Murder trilogy plus the novella Killjoy, and the series kind of went downhill for me. Like, I felt that Good Girl's Guide to Murder was very like fine. It was fine. I really liked Good Girl Bad Blood, the second one, the one with the podcast. I think that was like a 4-star for me. And then As Good as It Gets, or whatever it's called, the third one was a dumpster fire mess. I don't understand how that ever made it through the publishing like process, or like, I really don't get it. It was a freaking mess. And in this house, we choose to look at A Good Girl's Guide to Murder as a duology. We just completely disregard that third book. So I'm interested to see what else Holly Jackson does, because I do have 5 Survive, and I know that it got really good ratings, and I haven't heard too much about this new release, but the concept is very interesting. The first and last sentence of this synopsis is, in 7 days, Jet Mason will be dead. Jet is going to solve her own murder. I don't want to know anything else because I don't like to know a lot about my mystery thrillers, but she's apparently going to be murdered and she's going to solve her own. And that was enough to intrigue me. So let's go ahead and hope that this is more Good Girl Bad Blood and not a repeat of As Good as It Gets. Next up is the second book that Amanda sent me in the package with Nightweaver, and that is For She Is Wrath. I have wanted to read this book because, once again, it's YA, but like, it sounds like it's written in a YA way that will connect with me. And Amanda sent me a little note that said that she also owned this and asked if I also wanted to buddy read this. And yes, I do, Amanda. I'm always in for a buddy read. However, I haven't started our current buddy read, which is When the Moon Hatched, and I've been too scared to pick it up, and you're on like chapter 55, and I'm not doing so well, but whatever. Yes, let's add all the buddy reads that I'll probably fail at. So this says, framed for a crime she didn't commit, Dania counts down her days in prison until she can exact revenge on Mason, the boy responsible for her downfall, the boy she once loved and still can't forget. When she discovers a fellow prisoner may have the key to achieving that vengeance, a stolen Jinn treasure, they execute a daring escape together and search for the hidden treasure. As Dania falls deeper into her own web of traps and lies, she risks losing her humanity to her fight for vengeance and her heart to the only boy she's ever loved. I have, once again, not heard a ton about this, but the few people I know that did read it really enjoyed it. With the aunties, I also grabbed The Robin on the Oak Throne. This is book 2 after The Wren and the Holly Library. Something about the names of those books, I just refuse. I'm allergic to getting them right. I constantly mispronounce them, but I think I did all right on that take. That was take like 4, full disclosure. This is the beautiful first edition. It does have the sprayed edges, and just because I do have the first book in this edition, I wanted to get the one that matched it. There's something about like once I've committed to buying the sprayed edge edition, something in my brain makes me think that I need all of them that match. I don't. It would have been fine. You hardly even see this, but in my head, it's necessary. I'm not going to read the synopsis of this, but The Wren and the Holly Library is a loose Beauty and the Beast retelling. And the first little sentence in this says, the only thing worse than fearing a monster is falling for one. Sold. These piles are getting a little dicey. This one was starting to shake. These are getting a little dicey. So let's hope the structural integrity holds up here. Next up, I grabbed Immortal Consequences by Ivy Marie, another book I've heard really great things about, but another YA that I'm not sure I can get behind, so I guess you will never know until you read them. But once again, the first edition with the sprayed edges got me. It sold me. I just think it's such a pretty edition, and it does have some gilding on the naked hardcover, so that's a good thing. It says, 6 rivals, 1 victor, eternity is only the beginning. Welcome to Blackwood Academy, the legendary school located on the fringes of the afterlife. Once a pupil enters the Academy's arched gates, there is no way out, except for the decennial, a once-in-a-decade celebration in which a single worthy student is tested and given a choice. Graduate and join Blackwood's magical elite, or cross over to the mysterious other side. This time, though, the rules have changed. This decennial isn't a celebration, it's a competition, and there can only be one victor. Okay, so Deadly Trials, YA. We've seen it, we get it. Let's see if this one does well. Next up, I picked up The Ragpicker King, quite possibly the worst name in recent publishing, whatever, by Cassandra Clare. This is book 2 after The Sword Catcher, I think it's called. Yeah, The Sword Catcher. I don't know what in goodness's name possessed her, and I'm sure it has part of the story. Sure, fair enough. However, all I do know is that before you've read this book, The Ragpicker King, out of context, is quite possibly the worst possible name I've ever heard. Something about it, like, it makes my skin crawl a little bit, like The Ragpicker King. I hope we're not expected in this book to fall for whatever character is the Ragpicker King, because I don't know that I could get past that. But once again, like I said, this is the second book after The Sword Catcher, which I also know almost nothing about, so I don't want to know too much about this one. But it says, an arranged marriage, a forbidden passion, a prophecy realized, a glittering world of debauchery and secrets, and a sinister plot to bring it all crashing down. Welcome back to Castle Lane. And let's hope the Ragpicker King gets a new nickname. A shock to no one, I also grabbed Heartless Sky, which is book 7, I think. Yeah, book 7 now in the traditionally published Zodiac Academy floppy paperbacks. I show them in every haul that I've been collecting this slowly but surely, and they just keep getting bigger, and at some point they have to get shorter because this is over 930 pages. So yeah, this thing is like heavy. You could use this as a doorstop if you needed to. Just did the soccer run and I'm officially out of breath, so the fan is still very much necessary. Oof. Okay, last but not least on our physical books, I did grab Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. This is her newest release, and I've only read Part of Your World by her. I haven't read anything else, but I did really like that book, and I know that this one is getting really good reviews. I know nothing about it. That's the theme, but I like her writing. And this is the Barnes & Noble edition, so it has this really cute end paper art. It says everything starts with you, and the really cute pink naked hardcover as well. And the back papers say and ends with you. That's really cute. It says there might be no such thing as a perfect guy, but Xavier Rush comes disastrously close. A gorgeous veterinarian giving Greek god vibes. Immediately, yes. That is until Xavier opens his mouth and proves that even sculpted gods can say the absolute wrong thing. Of course, there's nothing Samantha loves more than proving an asshole wrong. Unless, of course, he can admit he made a mistake. But after one incredible and seemingly endless date, possibly the best in living history, Samantha is forced to admit the truth, that her family is in crisis and any kind of relationship would be impossible. Samantha begs Xavier to forget her, to remember their night together as a perfect moment, as crushing as that may be. Only no amount of distance or time is nearly enough to forget that something was between them. And the only other thing better than one single perfect memory is to make a life, and even a love, worth remembering. I honestly love this cover. I love the colors, but I also love the like Ferris wheel and like the boardwalk in the background. It reminds me of like summers in Jersey or summers somewhere in New England, because we love a good boardwalk, you know? And that's it for our physical books. Like I said, considering I just did a like 100 book haul like 3 weeks ago, I did go a little crazy, but I regret nothing. Next up, let me talk about the couple of special editions I've gotten. Admittedly, I'm not getting as many per month, but I did get a couple. I knew I was missing a special edition, so I was searching my shelves because I could have sworn I got 2 and I could only find 1. But then I remembered that my Page and Wix subscription from last month, that was supposed to be delivered last month, got delayed. I guess when the books arrived at the warehouse, they were damaged and they had to place a new order. So that book isn't coming until tomorrow. So after we talk about book number 1, I will pop in tomorrow to add footage of what I received from them. But the book that I did receive last month from Fairy Loot Romantasy is Warrior Princess Assassin by Bridget Kemmerer. This edition is so gorgeous. It has the beautiful sprayed edges. I don't even know what's on them. Oh, like a snowflake. So I'm assuming that this is probably going to take place in like a cold weather climate, but it's a gorgeous edition. I haven't even opened it up yet. Oh, wow. Oh, so pretty. That's interesting. They usually don't do the the author's signature on this page, but they have it in with the character art. And then, oh wow, look at the naked hardcover of this book. Let me get my face out of the way. How pretty is that with the daggers and the snowflakes and then the alternate artwork on the back. Oh my gosh. And another really unique thing about this is the character art has metallic foiling on it. I don't know if you can see that kind of like shining in the light. It does have the metallic foiling on the artwork. Usually they keep it to like the naked hardcover, but this has it on the paper. Okay, so just from this picture, I'm gathering this is going to be a why choose. So it says, who should you choose? Warrior King Maddox Kieran's fire magic has earned him a ruthless reputation, but now his kingdom is slowly burning, a blaze he cannot control, and his one chance to save it is a marriage alliance with the neighboring royal family of Estranza and their power to manipulate the weather. Okay, political marriage of expedience, got it. Who should you love? With war on the horizon, Princess Jory's home needs this alliance, but her family is hiding a dangerous secret. Their magic is fading. When she meets her intended, he sets her heart aflame, but what will he do when he realizes she's deceiving him? Okay. And who should you kill? Once a young nobleman causing mischief with Jory in Estranza's palace, Asher is now part of the Hunters Guild. When a lucrative job arises, he can't refuse until he sees the targets. Someone wants King Maddox and Princess Jory dead. Oh, now Asher must decide what he's willing to do to protect the woman he loves and the king she's about to marry. Okay. Warrior. Nope. Okay. Warrior, princess, assassin. I get it now. As promised, future Lindsay here. The package did come in today, so I do have my Page and Wick book. I'm very excited to show you because I think it's really beautiful. So this month's Page and Wick theme was Behind the Blooms. So that is the July box. It's running a little bit late. So they actually had, I think I said this before, but they had a situation where they got their books, the original like book prints, into the warehouse and the printing was messed up. So they had to send them back, get the new books back in. So they're running about a month behind. So this is the July box, Behind the Blooms. And here she is. This is House of Blight by Maxim M. Martineau, I think is how you pronounce the author's name. This edition is so beautiful. I could definitely see why it's called Behind the Blooms. And then it has the beautiful like floral sprayed edges that go all the way around. And then it has the gorgeous embossed naked hardcover with, of course, the sprayed edge, or not the sprayed edge, the end paper character art. I'm going to be honest with you. All of the book boxes seem to be doing this. I don't know that I love this. I don't know. I kind of liked when they signed like the title page inside the book. I don't know if I love it because it cuts off the artwork. I don't know if I love that. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? I think it kind of takes away from the artwork. Oh, okay. So the artwork on this one is the same in the back. So I guess on the back you get the full art. You don't get that circle missing out of it. I don't know much about this book. It says Adira Brilwin is a thread mender. She holds a rare life-saving power that can cure disease and heal injuries in the blink of an eye. But magic always comes with a cost, and saving anyone sacrifices a sliver of her own life. She's always kept her abilities hidden until the powerful Fernglove family discovers her secret. The Ferngloves are charming and beautiful, possess powerful magic, and don't take no for an answer, especially Orin, the head of these ruling elites. When Adira's brothers unexpectedly contract blight, an incurable virus killing people throughout the town, and an illness too strong for her to heal them both, Orin offers to help. Together at his estate, they'll research a cure while Orin slows their sickness and Adira hones her magic. His kindness and honesty surprises Adira, as does her undeniable attraction to him. But the other Ferngloves are suspicious of her power and may be more dangerous than the ever-present disease. The longer Adira stays within the confines of the manor, the more the family's pristine exterior begins to crack, until Adira discovers a terrifying secret and must choose who she can save and at what cost. I've heard really good things about this book, and it's funny because I was actually sent the e-arc when this went to traditional publishing, so I do have it on my Kindle, which is very convenient, but the Barnes & Noble edition of this book is really pretty too. And then, of course, the great thing about Page & Wick is they not only send you a special edition book, but they send you a curated candle that is made specifically to match the book. So this is called Ferngloves. I haven't even smelled it yet. I do have to say, I'm not loving the new label system they're using for anybody that gets the box, because mine is like curling up already, but okay. Pretty floral, definitely very floral, a little like musky undertone. I think it tells you what undertones. Okay. The featured Kindle is Fern Gloves. It has notes of lemon, basil, that's what I'm getting, the basil, armoire, and thyme, enriched by the crisp scent of green leaves. Yes, like fresh cut grass. That's what I'm getting. The heart reveals a blend of pine needle, rose, and lily, resting on a clean, earthy base of dry flowers and soft musk. It's funny that I got the undernotes. So that's all for our physical books, but I have, in true Lindsay fashion, grabbed quite a few Kindle books as well. As always, I'm not going to give long, lengthy discussions for these because it would take us forever, but I will tell you what I got, if I got it for a good sale, and the basic synopsis. Okay, so first of all, I grabbed Say You Still Love Me by K.A. Tucker. This is the author, I believe, that wrote The Simple Wild and a few other books that are very, very popular, and I've been intrigued by her writing, besides for the fact that this cover is just really pretty. I got this for $1.99 when it was on sale. It says it's about a high-powered executive who reconnects with her first love, the new security guard at her firm, and must navigate their complicated past and present dynamic. So it's like a badass lady who meets her security guard ex, and they want to like rekindle. I also grabbed Stolen Songbird by Danielle L. Jensen. So this is the same author as The Bridge Kingdom and A Fate Inked in Blood, I think it's called. And this is the Malediction series, book 1. It's currently a trilogy. It says, a girl destined for the stage, a prince cursed to darkness, a bond that will unleash magic caged for centuries. This went on sale for $1.99 one day, and I had to have it. Also, if you look on Amazon, how pretty is this character artwork? I think that alone sold me. Another book I grabbed was Chasing the Wild by Elliot Rose. This is book 1 of the Crimson Ridge series. It says it's a steamy age gap forbidden love cowboy romance about a veterinarian who is snowed in on a remote mountain ranch in Montana with the one man she definitely should not be fantasizing about, her ex-boyfriend's sexy, brooding father. Ex-boyfriend dad trope. It's for me. Next up, I grabbed Dating After the End of the World by Geneva Rose when it went on sale for 99 cents one day. It says there's nothing like the undead to bring the living together in an action-packed and apocalyptically romantic genre-shattering novel. It says Casey Pearson grew up with a doomsday prepping father. At 18, tired of living an unconventional life, she left home, vowing never to return. More than a decade later, a mysterious viral outbreak changes everything, including the people it infects, turning them into zombie-like creatures. It's the end of the world, and no one saw it coming. Well, except for Casey's father. With no place left to run and danger lurking around every corner, Casey is forced to return home. Upon arrival, she's surprised to find that her dad is hunkered down with a group of survivors, including her arch-nemesis Blake Morrison, the high school bully who made Casey's teenage years a living hell. While struggling to live on the compound, face outside threats, and survive alongside her handsome enemy, Casey will learn that although the world has ended, hers is just beginning. This gave me like Walking Dead vibes. Okay, so I also grabbed Winter People by Jennifer McMahon when it went on sale for like 99 cents or like $1.99 or something one day. And the funny part about this book is that when this book first came out, I don't even know when it was published, 2014, so it might have been a little after, but like 2018, circa that area, sometime then, I actually remember seeing this book on the Barnes & Noble shelves, and I was intrigued about it then. I don't know why, because it's admittedly kind of plain, but something about it like drew me in and I never bought it. So I was scrolling the Kindle deals one day and this went on sale for somewhere under $2. I don't really remember. And I was like, oh, this is my opportunity to get it. So it was kind of an impulsive purchase. It says it's a simmering psychological thriller about ghostly secrets, dark choices, and the unbreakable bond between mothers and daughters. It says a mother disappears, leaving her daughter to uncover dark secrets and a chilling mystery in a town haunted by strange disappearances and old legends. Like I said, I don't really know why, but it's intrigued me since, God, years ago. Okay, this next one is weird because I saw a couple of booktubers talk about it. It's Northwoods by Daniel Mason. And honestly, I just remember this cover when it made the rounds around BookTube a while ago because the mountain lion that's on this cover, from what I remember, I think you actually get one of the POVs in this book from the mountain lion's perspective. Like, you're reading from the mountain lion's eyes. And I absolutely loved Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. I gave this a 5-star when I read it. And one of the really unique aspects that for some reason worked for me and I really liked it was that one of the points of view in that story was from an octopus's point of view. It was Marcellus the octopus. And I fell in love with him and I thought it was just so unique and so cool and something you don't see often. So when I heard that this book has a POV from a cougar, I was like, put it in my cart. It's normally $12.99. It went on sale one day for $1.99, so I scooped it up. It says it's a sweeping novel about a single house in the woods of New England told through the lives of those who inhabit it across the centuries. And I was correct. It says it becomes the home of extraordinary succession of human and non-human characters alike. An English soldier, a pair of spinster twins, a lovelorn painter, a sinister conman, a stalking panther, and even a lusty beetle. So I guess one of the points of view is actually a beetle. It could be really bizarre and boring and horrible, or it could be really unique and cool. But for $1, it was worth the gamble to me. Another example of watching your Kindle deals, because sometimes newer releases go on sale for like $1, is Somewhere Beyond the Sea. This is book 2 after House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune, which has taken book 2 by storm as well. And this is a fairly new release, and I'd kind of seen it in the bookstore, but I never really felt positive about needing it on my shelves, especially since I've never read book 1 and I'm not sure it's going to be for me. But for $2 for a brand new release, I scooped it up for Kindle. Another thing Kindle has been doing like a couple of times a year lately is there's been like one particular author that will just make their entire catalog of books completely free. And this particular month it was Penelope Douglas. So I grabbed so many Penelope Douglas books for $0.00, including the entire Devil's Night series, which I have been dying to read, and it went on sale for $0, completely free. So randomly they just pick an author and they make all of their books free in their entire catalog. I forget who else they did this with. It wasn't Tessa Bailey. I don't remember who it was, but they've done this one time before and I've scooped up their entire catalog free. I also grabbed Bad Luck Charm. This is book 1 in a current duology, in the Witch City duology by Julie Johnson. I love this cover. I think it's so cute and I think it's perfect for like cozy witchy season. And it's set in Salem, Massachusetts. So once again, I love Salem. I love New England for spooky season because there's such great witch trial lore. So that kind of spoke to me. It says a woman who owns an occult shop in Salem, Massachusetts is targeted by dangerous criminals, and the only man who can protect her is a private investigator who prides himself on staying objective in every case that comes across his desk. Another example of a book that got me mostly because of the beautiful character art is A Rise of the Cinder Fae. This is Dark Hearts Fairy Tale Retellings, book 1 of 2 by Whitney Dean. And I was scrolling through the deals and this character art came up. It's kind of blown out on my screen, but I hope you can see it. That character art came up and I was just like, yup, that's for me. How cool is that? That just is everything that I love. So once I saw that and it was on sale for 99 cents, I was like, this is for me. I want this. I think I've only seen one person talk about it in the past, so I don't know much about it. But it says, born and raised in the forgotten and broken kingdom of Ashbury, Elora has spent years resenting the royals of Pumpkin Hollow. That is the cutest kingdom name of all time. The kingdom that forced the fall of Ashbury and procured the town as its own. Separated by a mysterious glass bridge, Ashbury is treated as the orphan kingdom left to squander and starve, with only the promise of protection from King Jasper preventing anyone outside their realm from searching for the magic that lay within the ashy valleys and red skies. Because 25 years ago, the Cinder Fae arrived. As mysterious as the magic encompassing Ashbury, the Cinder Fae bargained for their lives by promising to keep the entire realm warm with their ability to mine mountainsides into coal. But Elora and the Cinder Fae hold a secret that could bring the end to Ashbury, and the mysterious winged creatures who, despite Elora's best efforts to pry, refuse to share where they came from and why they can't return. I will say this book is 678 pages, so it's a long one. Okay, next up I grabbed Sunshine. This is book 1 of 3 in the Saddlebrook Falls series, and it says it's a small town cowboy romance, so it's a yeehaw cowboy. It says Friday Night Lights meets Yellowstone in this scorching new romance series about a fictional small town in East Texas and a lawless family of ranchers who are hellbent on pushing back against the people who fear them. So there's also a little like tropes thing, and it says Friday Night Lights X Yellowstone, Rodeo Cowboy, It's Always Been You, and Forbidden Romance. Next up, I grabbed A Thorn in Every Heart. This is book 1 of 3 in the Enchanted Legacy series by Kate King. It says it's Beauty and the Beast meets Anastasia in a spicy and addictive modern fairy tale mashup. It says after a failed marriage, musician Alex moves to a ghost town and gets swept into the Fey realm where she must settle her grandmother's debt to a beastly king. Spicy romance. This cover is beautiful, and it went on sale for 99 cents. Another author I've been really intrigued by is Karen Marie Moaning. I've downloaded a couple of books in some of her series, and I've just been like, what's the one that I downloaded? Something in like a fever series, something like that. But Beyond the Highland Mist, book 1 of 8 in the Highlander series, went on sale for 99 cents one day, so I grabbed it. I'm pretty sure this is like a Celtic or Scottish story by her. It says a bold modern woman gets transported to a medieval Scotland. There you go. Captivating a legendary warrior who's determined to win her heart. I don't know if it's just Scottish or because the series is called Highlander, but for some reason this reminded me of Outlander and I wanted to grab it. I also was able to scoop up Wings of Starlight by Alison Saft. So here's the thing about Alison Saft. I've only read one other book by her, and it was A Fragile Enchantment, and I ended up not caring for it. I think I gave it like 2 stars. Not only was it boring and slow, but I didn't really love her writing or her character development much. So she might not be the author for me, but this went on sale for 99 cents. So that's really the only money I was willing to invest in it because I just don't think that her style is for me. But it says a young fairy queen forms an unlikely alliance with a guardian of the winter woods to save their lands, but their growing bond faces deadly consequences. Here's a book that's actually caught my eyes a few times in the bookstore as well. I picked up Aftertaste by Daria Lavelle. I don't know what it is about it because I know nothing about the book, but I think this cover is just so intriguing. It's one of those things where it just kind of sucks me in and I'm intrigued by it. It says, what if you could have one last meal with someone you've loved or someone you've lost? Combining the magic of Under the Whispering Door with the high-stakes culinary world of Sweet Bitter, Aftertaste is an epic love story, a dark comedy, and a synesthetic, third time's a charm, and a synesthetic adventure through food and grief. It says a man with supernatural tasting abilities learns cooking to reunite people with deceased loved ones through food, leading to unforeseen consequences in the New York culinary scene. There is something about that. Not only is the cover really intriguing, but that storyline is very unique, and I think I might love it. I also grabbed Luxuria, a monster romance Shades of Sin book 1. You know that I love a good spicy monster romance. It says a banished human hunter gets an opportunity to fulfill her monster fantasies by marrying the surly king of shades. I think he's a shadow daddy. Another book I've been super intrigued by, and I really don't see many people talking about it, is Vesseless by Courtney L. Wynn. It says it's an enemies to lovers romantasy, a novel of addictive magic, a deadly tournament, and blurred lines between the human and spirit worlds. It says it's a spicy fantasy romance where the heir Nazara enters a deadly tournament and must team up with Dagon, a seductive half-ghost enemy who needs her soul to gain freedom. I actually saw a hint that this may be coming in one of the book boxes. I can't remember which one, but this might be getting a special edition in a book box soon, and for some reason that intrigued me even more. So it also has a tropes list, and it says enemies to lovers, slow burn, steamy romantasy, Rebecca Yarros, Carissa Broadbent adjacent. We know my opinions on Rebecca Yarros. I love the Empyrean series. So if this is like loosely compared to it, I'm in. And last but not least for right now, I also grabbed While Idaho Slept. So a couple of weeks ago, I finished the Idaho 4 book by James Patterson in one day. It was like a 440 something page book and I breezed right through it. I spoke a little bit about it in that video that I have been absolutely fascinated by this case. I think it's just so baffling to me and so tragic and horrible and just so shocking as someone who went to college in a very, very small town where we never locked our doors. Honestly, I don't even think my dorm room had a lock on it. It's just so shocking, and there was something so intriguing about the perpetrator and the fact that he was a PhD student in criminal justice, and just like, honestly, just the overall randomness of the case. Like, there was seemingly no reason at all that has hooked me, and I have been fascinated by this case. I read that book in one day. I love it. And this was actually a book that was written before that. I think this book was written before the perpetrator was even arrested and charged. I don't remember. I don't like know that for certain though, so don't quote me. But this says, while Idaho slept, the hunt for answers in the murders of 4 college students. It offers a memorable, thoughtful dive into our societal fascination with true crime, the media's seeming blood frenzy, and the future of homicide investigations, while cultivating an intimate look into the minds and hearts of the victim and their suspected killer alike. So I was incorrect. I just read a little bit more of this blurb, which, by the way, is like the longest blurb of all time, so I won't bore you. But he was arrested at the time of this book being published. So it is 288 pages. So considering the last book I read about it, I finished 440 something pages in one day. I have a weird feeling I could read this no problem in an afternoon, and I probably will. Another haul in the books. That is it, guys. I am going to make a vow now that this will be my last haul for a very long time, because I was doing so well with not adding physical books to my TBR, and that clearly went out the window. So I'm going to give you a complicated emoji combination for this video. If you have made it this entire way, comment the cat and the donut for Princess Donut from the Dungeon Crawler Carl series, because I really honestly think that even after both of these hauls and over 100, 200 books, I still am most excited for that series. So go ahead and show some love for Miss Princess Donut the cat right here if you've made it this entire way, and then do all the things that you are so professional at doing, like, comment, subscribe, and I will catch you guys after my vacation, hopefully with a really nice tan. Bye, guys.